raspberry sounds like it's from a fairy tale, and it kind of is. There's no real blue raspberry fruit, and nothing in nature is that bright blue color. But this flavor has become super popular. You find it in everything from ice pops and chewy candies to sports drinks and lip gloss. It's a favorite for many people. The flavor started in the 1970s. The problem was simple. There were too many red-flavored candies, and kids couldn't tell them apart. So, food scientists decided to do something fun. They turned raspberry flavor bright blue. It was bold, tangy, and really stood out. People loved it, and it quickly became a big deal in the candy world. Making blue raspberry isn't easy though. Each batch needs about 10,000 gallons of ingredients mixed in huge factories. They use science and careful measurements to get that special taste. It's not just about adding blue color, it's about making sure each candy or drink has the perfect tangy flavor. Let's clear this up. Blue raspberries aren't real. They never were and never will be. You won't see them growing on a bush sitting in the grocery store or being made into fancy jam. Yet somehow, this bright blue flavor has been a childhood favorite, popping up in slushies, gummies, and candies everywhere. It's just one of those things we all went along with, like cartoon characters having 4 fingers, or cereal somehow being part of a balanced breakfast. So where did the blue raspberry come from? Like many things in the snack world, the answer involves marketing, food dye, and zero concern for what raspberries actually look like. Back in the 1950s and 60s, raspberry-flavored candies had a problem. They looked just like cherry, strawberry, and every other red candy. It was a guessing game for kids, and companies needed a fix. Instead of changing the flavor, they just made raspberry blue. Because why not? The ICE company took the idea and used blue number 1 dye to make a bright, eye-catching slushy flavor. And just like that, blue raspberry took off, spreading to hard candies, sour belts, and anything else that could turn your tongue an unnatural shade of blue. At some point, someone tried to explain blue raspberry by pointing to a fruit called Rubus leucodermis, also known as the blue raspberry. Sounds legit, right? Except it's actually a deep purple, nothing like the bright blue we all know. But by then, nobody cared. Blue raspberry had already taken over, showing up in Jolly Ranchers, Sour Patch Kids, and snack aisles everywhere. It may not be real, but it's one of the best food industry tricks ever. After all, a neon blue slushie was never meant to be natural, and honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way. Now, let's take a look inside the factory. Since blue raspberry isn't a real fruit, its flavor has to be completely made from a mix of natural and artificial ingredients that copy the taste of real raspberries. The goal is to create a flavor that's similar, but with a sharper, tangier kick to make it stand out. This is done in flavor labs, where experts carefully mix and test different ingredients to get the perfect balance of tartness, sweetness, and smell. Real raspberries have hundreds of natural flavor compounds, but blue raspberry is made using just a few key ones to create a stronger, more intense taste. The result is a bold, unforgettable flavor that works perfectly in candies, drinks, and frozen treats. Some key ingredients in blue raspberry flavoring include isoamyl acetate, which gives a sweet, banana-like smell, and ethyl butyrate, which adds a juicy, candy-like taste. To make it tangy, citric acid and malic acid are added, both naturally found in fruits like lemons, apples, and real raspberries. These acids don't just add sourness, they also make the flavor feel stronger and more refreshing. Depending on the product, the formula may be tweaked, with artificial sweeteners like sucralose or aspartame used in sugar-free versions. The right mix of these ingredients keeps blue raspberry bold, flavorful, and impossible to resist, whether it's in a lollipop or an energy drink. The bright blue color of blue raspberry comes from Brilliant Blue, FCF, blue number 1, a synthetic dye used in food worldwide. Unlike natural dyes from fruits or vegetables, blue number 1 stays vibrant even when exposed to light, heat, or acidic ingredients. This is important since blue raspberry products go through different temperatures during storage and shipping. Without this dye, the flavor would still be there, but the eye-catching blue color would be lost, making it way less exciting. Over time, this bold blue shade has become just as important as the taste. People expect blue raspberry to look as intense as it tastes, proving that sometimes a flavor's success is just as much about appearance as it is about flavor. After gathering the ingredients, the next step is making the blue raspberry flavor concentrate, which is used in slushies, sodas, syrups, and candies. This happens in food labs, where chemists carefully measure and mix flavor compounds in exact amounts. Since blue raspberry has a unique but familiar taste, keeping it consistent is important. Every batch needs to taste the same. Even a small change in acidity or sweetness can throw off the flavor, so manufacturers use advanced tools to check for accuracy. Techniques like gas chromatography and mass spectrometry help break down and analyze the chemical makeup of each batch, ensuring it matches the exact flavor people expect. Getting the right balance of acidity and sweetness in blue raspberry is tricky. Too much citric acid makes it too sour, while too little makes it taste dull. To keep it just right, manufacturers use pH testing to check acidity levels. Trained taste testers also sample batches to catch any small changes in flavor. These experts can tell if a batch has the right fruity smell, tartness, and sweetness before it goes into full production. Some companies even bring in regular consumers to taste test small samples and give feedback, making sure the final product matches what people love. Getting the right shade of blue is just as important as the flavor. People often associate color with taste, so if the blue looks off, they might think something is wrong, even if it isn't. To keep it consistent, manufacturers use special tools to measure the exact shade and make sure every batch looks the same. If the color isn't bright enough, they adjust the pH level or dye concentration. This attention to detail ensures that whether you're sipping a soda, enjoying a slushie, or eating a candy, it always has that same bold blue color and tangy taste you expect. Once the blue raspberry flavor is perfected, it's time for mass production, where it gets added to candies, drinks, and syrups. The process is different for each product, requiring special machines, careful timing, and strict temperature control to get the right texture and taste. Even small changes in temperature or mixing speed can affect the final result, so factories use computer systems to keep everything consistent. Quality control teams regularly test samples to make sure every batch has the right flavor, color, and texture before it moves on. For candies and gummies, production starts by heating sugar, corn syrup, and water in large kettles until it turns into a thick, clear syrup at over 300 degrees Fahrenheit, 150 degrees Celsius. Once it reaches the right consistency, blue raspberry flavor and dye are mixed in to ensure an even taste and color. The hot syrup is then either poured into molds for gummies or slightly cooled before being stretched, shaped, and cut for hard candies. Sour candies get an extra coating of citric or malic acid for more tanginess. Other treats, like taffy or lollipops, go through extra steps, such as aerating for a softer texture or cooling slowly to prevent unwanted crystallization. For sodas and slushies, production starts by mixing blue raspberry syrup with either carbonated or regular water. Homogenizers make sure the syrup blends evenly, so it doesn't separate over time. In sodas, carbonation levels are carefully adjusted to keep the right amount of fizz. Slushies go through freezing machines with rotating blades that break the liquid into tiny ice crystals, giving them their signature semi-frozen texture. The consistency has to be just right. Too much ice makes it too thick, while too little makes it melt too fast. For syrups and liquid concentrates, blue raspberry flavoring is mixed with high fructose corn syrup or artificial sweeteners to create a thick, long-lasting mixture. To keep it fresh, the syrup is heated to kill bacteria and mold, then quickly cooled and stored in bulk containers. It's then shipped to fast food chains, convenience stores, and drink makers. Before being served, the syrup is mixed with water, ice, or soda to create the final blue raspberry drink. Many brands keep their exact recipes secret, adjusting the sweetness and tartness to keep fans coming back for more. Before blue raspberry products are packaged and sent to stores, they go through strict quality checks to ensure they taste right and are safe to eat. Even small changes in acidity, sweetness, or color can affect the final product, so factories use chemical tests, taste tests, and microbial inspections to keep everything consistent. Advanced lab equipment helps detect even tiny differences in the formula, preventing products from being too sour, too sweet, or just off. If something isn't right, adjustments are made before the batch moves forward. One of the biggest challenges in making blue raspberry products is keeping the color consistent. The artificial blue dye, blue number 1, can change slightly depending on pH levels, temperature, and ingredient interactions, so manufacturers run color tests to make sure every batch looks the same. If the shade is even a little off, they adjust it before moving forward because customers expect that bright, electric blue every time. pH meters and sugar tests also help balance tartness and sweetness, preventing flavors from being too sour, bland, or overly sweet. Some companies even do blind taste tests with experts or regular consumers to make sure the final product looks and tastes just right. Keeping blue raspberry products safe from bacteria and mold is a key part of quality control. Since these treats often contain sugar or syrup, they can spoil if not handled properly. To prevent this, factories use pasteurization, sterile filling, and airtight packaging. Random samples from each batch are tested for harmful bacteria like Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli to make sure they're completely safe to eat. Even the packaging is checked to ensure it's sealed correctly and won't cause leaks or spoilage. If anything fails these tests, the entire batch is either fixed or thrown out, making sure every blue raspberry treat is both tasty and safe. After passing quality checks, blue raspberry products move to packaging, where they're sealed, labeled, and prepped for shipping. The packaging depends on the product. Candies go in plastic or foil, drinks are bottled or canned, and syrups are stored in large containers for restaurants and soda machines. Packaging keeps the product fresh, tasty, and looking good. The process is mostly automated, with robotic arms, conveyor belts, and fast wrapping machines handling thousands of units per hour to keep up with demand. Airtight packaging is key to keeping blue raspberry products fresh and safe. Moisture-proof wrappers stop gummies and hard candies from getting sticky or melting, while temperature control keeps them from getting too soft or hard. Drinks need sterile bottling to keep their fizz and flavor. Slushy syrups and soda concentrates are sealed in large pouches or jugs and sent to fast food spots, gas stations, and amusement parks, where they're mixed with ice and water. Some companies also use vacuum-sealed containers to keep products fresher for longer. Labels on blue raspberry products follow strict rules, especially since they contain artificial dyes and sweeteners. They list all ingredients, nutrition facts, and allergens so customers know what they're getting. Expiration dates, batch numbers, and manufacturing details help with tracking in case of recalls. Some brands even add QR codes for extra info on sourcing, sustainability, or special deals. Once packaged and labeled, the products head to distribution centers before being shipped to stores, movie theaters, amusement parks, and online retailers, ready for blue raspberry fans to enjoy in candy, drinks, or icy slushies. Blue raspberry's popularity isn't just about its bold, sweet tart taste. It's a mix of nostalgia, smart marketing, and eye-catching color. Unlike common fruit flavors, it stands out with its bright blue look and unmistakable flavor. It was made to be different, and that's why it stayed popular for so long. From slushies and sour candies to sodas and ice pops, it has earned a permanent spot in the snack world, loved by both kids and adults. Its unusual color adds to the fun. After all, how often do you see blue food? That curiosity and excitement keep people coming back. Blue raspberry stays popular because it's fun and different. It's tied to childhood memories, amusement parks, movie nights, and summer treats. The bright blue color makes it feel special, something you won't find in nature but just as exciting as real fruit. Choosing blue raspberry over a regular flavor feels playful, even a little daring. While other artificial flavors have faded, blue raspberry keeps coming back in new forms. Whether it's a special edition soda, a neon energy drink, or a new sour candy, companies always find new ways to keep it in the spotlight. Blue raspberry proves that a flavor doesn't have to be natural to be popular. It stands out because it's bold, memorable, and a little unusual. Its bright color and tangy taste make it instantly recognizable, helping it stay a favorite for decades. More than just a flavor, it's connected to fun, nostalgia, and a bit of mystery. Even as food trends change, blue raspberry keeps showing up in new ways, from slushies and sour candies to vape flavors. Whether you love it or just wonder why it's still around, one thing is clear: blue raspberry isn't going anywhere. There's something special about a Reese's egg. It's not just the shape, it's the mix. Soft peanut butter, a thin layer of chocolate, and the way it all melts just right. For some people, Easter isn't complete without a few hidden in the freezer. For others, it's the best kind of Reese's you can get. Reese's eggs first came out in the late 1960s. They were made as a fun Easter version of the regular peanut butter cup, but they quickly became a favorite, so popular that people talk about them online, hunt for them in stores, and even try to sell them after they're gone. Today, Reese's makes over 400 million of these eggs every year just for Easter. That's more than one for every person in the US. You'll see them by the checkout, in Easter baskets, or saved away for later like little gold bars. So what makes them so good? What goes on inside the factory to make them taste smoother, softer, and somehow better? Let's take a look inside the Reese's Easter factory, where egg-shaped molds, chocolate machines, and huge peanut butter mixers work together to make one of the most loved treats in candy history. It all starts on farms, mainly in warm, humid areas of the southeastern US, like Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi. These states grow runner peanuts, the type Hershey uses for Reese's. These peanuts are chosen because they have a consistent size and a rich, nutty flavor that goes well with chocolate. Farmers plant peanuts in the spring when the weather is warm, and after about 140 to 150 days, they're ready to harvest in the fall. The whole plant is pulled from the ground and flipped upside down to let the peanuts dry in the sun for a few days. After that, machines separate the peanuts from the pods, making sure only the best peanuts move on to the next step. Once harvested, the peanuts are sent to processing plants in large quantities, where they are carefully checked for size and quality. Peanuts that don't meet the standards are thrown away or used for things like animal feed. The good peanuts are shelled and roasted in big ovens. Roasting helps bring out the flavor and reduces moisture, which is important because too much moisture can cause the peanuts to spoil. Drying them out makes the peanuts last longer and helps keep the candy fresh. After roasting, the peanuts are cooled to avoid overcooking and checked for quality. Only the best peanuts move on to be made into Reese's peanut butter. While the peanuts are sourced locally, the chocolate ingredients travel farther. The cocoa beans used in Hershey's chocolate mainly come from West Africa, especially from countries like Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, where the climate is perfect for growing cocoa. These areas have rich soil and stable weather, allowing cocoa trees to thrive. Farmers harvest the cocoa pods by hand using machetes, cutting them carefully from the trees. After harvesting, the beans are removed from the pods and fermented in large piles or boxes for several days. This fermentation helps develop the strong flavors that give chocolate its taste. Once fermented, the beans are dried in the sun for up to a week. After drying, they're packed up and shipped to the US, where they are processed into cocoa liquor, the main ingredient for making chocolate. Once the cocoa beans arrive at Hershey's processing plants, they're cleaned to remove any dirt or debris. After that, the beans are roasted to bring out a stronger flavor and the rich chocolate smell. The roasted beans are cracked open and ground into cocoa nibs, which are then turned into cocoa liquor. This cocoa liquor forms the base of Hershey's milk chocolate and is mixed with other ingredients. Hershey combines the cocoa liquor with cocoa butter, which comes from the same beans, sugar, and powdered milk, to make the smooth, creamy chocolate that Reese's fans love. Sometimes, soy lecithin is added to help the ingredients mix well and keep the texture smooth. The chocolate blend is carefully tested and adjusted to make sure it has the right taste that people expect from Reese's products. The milk used in Hershey's chocolate comes from dairy farms across the United States. Hershey makes sure the milk is fresh and high quality by setting strict standards for its suppliers. The milk is pasteurized and processed before being added to the chocolate mix. The whole process, from getting the milk to mixing it with cocoa, is designed to create a product that's the same every time, even when made in large amounts. All the ingredients, peanuts, cocoa, milk, and sugar, are stored in special tanks and silos that keep them at the right temperature until they're ready to be made into Reese's eggs. This careful attention to detail ensures every Reese's egg tastes just as good as the last one. Once the peanuts arrive at the candy plant, they go through a second roasting process in special machines that control heat and airflow. This step is important because it enhances the peanut flavor and makes sure every batch tastes the same, no matter when it's made. The peanuts are roasted at controlled temperatures, bringing out their natural flavor without burning them. This process also removes any leftover moisture, which helps the peanut butter's texture and keeps it stable. This careful roasting is key to making sure every peanut is just right for the candy's signature taste. After roasting, the peanuts are ground into a thick paste using strong grinders. Unlike the smooth peanut butter you spread on toast, the peanut butter for Reese's is intentionally kept a little dry and gritty. This helps it stay in shape inside the chocolate shell and gives Reese's the texture fans love. By not fully blending the peanut paste, Hershey makes sure the filling is thick enough to stay firm during production. The paste still has some peanut chunks, which adds texture and boosts the flavor, making each bite even more enjoyable. Once the peanuts are ground into paste, it's mixed with other ingredients to make the final peanut butter filling. These include salt to bring out the flavor, powdered sugar for sweetness and to balance the salt, and hydrogenated vegetable oil to keep the peanut butter soft and prevent it from drying out. The oil also helps the filling stay consistent as it moves through production, making it easier to mold and coat with chocolate. The sugar and oil are carefully mixed to get the right texture, not too runny or too thick. The factory uses tools to check the peanut butter's density, moisture, and texture to make sure it meets Hershey's standards. If the mixture isn't just right, it can affect the candy's quality, so constant testing makes sure the peanut butter filling is always perfect. When the peanut butter filling is ready, it's moved into large tanks that feed directly into the molding lines. These tanks keep a steady flow of filling to the production lines, making everything run smoothly. The peanut butter is then placed into egg-shaped molds using automated nozzles that put the right amount of filling in each mold. The process is quick, with hundreds of molds moving through the line every minute. However, each mold gets the same amount of filling, making sure they are all the same size and shape. Hershey's workers carefully watch the temperature, pressure, and humidity to avoid air bubbles or any flaws in the filling. They adjust the room temperature to keep the peanut butter just right for molding and control the air pressure and humidity to keep the filling consistent. After the peanut butter is placed into the molds, the filled molds move through a cooling tunnel where the temperature is slowly lowered. This gradual cooling helps the peanut butter set and firm up so it keeps its shape as it moves on to the next step. The cooling tunnel ensures that the filling hardens evenly without cracking or shrinking, which could cause problems later. Although it seems simple, this step is very sensitive. Even small changes in ingredient amounts, pump pressure, or the environment can affect the peanut butter. That's why Hershey's workers are always checking for any issues with the shape or texture, making sure only perfectly formed centers continue down the line. Any that aren't right are sent back for reprocessing, ensuring each Reese's egg meets the brand's high standards. The chocolate used to coat the eggs is kept melted in large, heated tanks at a steady temperature, usually around 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius. This helps the chocolate flow smoothly and cover the candy evenly. The chocolate is then pumped to enrobing machines, where the peanut butter centers move down a conveyor belt and pass under a curtain of liquid chocolate. This covers the top, sides, and bottom of each egg at once. The process is carefully controlled. Too much chocolate makes the shell too thick, while too little means it won't seal properly, which can affect the candy's look and taste. After the enrobing process, each egg moves onto a vibrating belt that shakes off extra chocolate and smooths out any uneven spots. The vibrations help the egg keep a uniform shape and stop too much chocolate from building up at the bottom. The coated eggs then go into a refrigerated tunnel that's about the length of a semi-truck. The cooling tunnel slowly lowers the temperature, hardening the chocolate without cracking or warping it. This step makes sure the shell stays firm but still melts easily in your mouth when you eat it. During this stage, quality control is always checking. Visual scanners look for misshapen eggs, coating issues, or anything that might affect how the candy looks. Some lines even use infrared or X-ray machines to find problems inside the chocolate. If there are any issues like air bubbles, cracks, or misaligned centers, the egg is removed from the line. These rejected eggs aren't wasted. They're either recycled into the process or used for animal feed, depending on the factory rules. This helps reduce waste and keeps things running smoothly while making sure the candy stays high quality. The chocolate used for coating is specially made for the enrobing process. It's a bit thicker than regular chocolate to form a protective shell, but not so thick that it hides the peanut butter inside. It also needs to harden quickly during cooling while keeping a shiny finish. This is done by carefully tempering the chocolate and sometimes adding small amounts of emulsifiers like lecithin. The result is a smooth, shiny shell that protects the peanut butter and helps keep the candy fresh until it's eaten, making sure each bite is just as good as the last. This stage of coating is all about getting the heat, timing, and checks just right to create the classic Reese's egg with a smooth, shiny shell and the perfect mix of chocolate and peanut butter. It's what makes Reese's eggs such a favorite treat for so many. Once the eggs are fully coated and cooled, they go through fast wrapping machines. These machines take foil from big rolls, cut it to the right size, and wrap it tightly around each egg. The foil protects the candy from light, air, and moisture to keep it fresh. The bright orange and yellow foil also makes Reese's eggs easy to spot on store shelves, which helps boost seasonal sales. Wrapping happens very quickly, up to 300 eggs per minute. Sensors check each egg's position to make sure the foil is centered and tight. If an egg is too warm or misshapen, it might tear the foil or wrap wrong. So both machines and workers keep track of temperature and alignment. Any eggs that are wrapped badly are taken off the line and either fixed or recycled. This careful checking makes sure every egg that goes to the store looks neat and attractive. After wrapping, the eggs are sorted into packaging lines. Some are put in small plastic trays unboxed for individual sale, while others go into larger seasonal displays for stores. These displays are often decorated with bunnies, flowers, or pastel colors, and are designed to fit well in special store spots like checkout areas. The packaging process is mostly automated, but workers still check the quality and do the final packing. Shipping is carefully planned too. Since Reese's eggs are a seasonal item with a short sales window, production starts months ahead to make sure stores are stocked by February. Once boxed and stacked on pallets, the eggs are sent to distribution centers and then shipped to stores across the country. Temperature-controlled trucks are used to prevent melting, especially in warmer areas. By Easter weekend, most stores have sold out, and any leftover eggs are sold at a discount after the holiday. Reese's eggs have remained so popular over the years because they combine two beloved flavors, peanut butter and chocolate, into a simple yet irresistible treat. The seasonal shape adds to the fun, making them a special treat that people look forward to each year. The consistency in taste and quality, thanks to Hershey's efficient production process, ensures that each Reese's egg tastes just as good as the last. What's kept Reese's eggs popular is their perfect balance of flavor and texture, along with their strong association with Easter celebrations. As one of the top-selling seasonal candies, they've built a loyal following and continue to be a go-to for candy lovers. Hershey's ability to maintain high production standards while meeting massive demand has allowed Reese's eggs to stay a favorite year after year, solidifying their place in candy history. It's spread on toast, poured on pancakes, and eaten straight from the jar. Nutella is a favorite all over the world, with its smooth chocolate hazelnut taste showing up in breakfasts and desserts across more than 160 countries. But it all started in Italy after World War II, when a baker named Pietro Ferrero mixed hazelnuts with cocoa to make chocolate last longer. That simple idea grew quickly, and today Ferrero makes over 400 million kilos of Nutella every year. That's one jar sold every 2.5 seconds. To keep up with so much demand, Nutella is made in large factories across Europe, North America, and other parts of the world. Ingredients like hazelnuts from Turkey, cocoa from Africa, and milk from Europe are brought in, mixed by machines, and packed into jars at high speed. So how do they make that many jars, that fast? Behind every scoop is a busy system most people never get to see, until now. Nutella is made from 6 main ingredients: hazelnuts, cocoa, sugar, palm oil, milk powder, and vanillin. While the list is simple, getting these ingredients is a complex process. Ferrero, the company behind Nutella, runs one of the biggest food supply chains in the world to meet demand. They make over 400 million kilograms of Nutella each year, so having a steady supply of ingredients is very important. Ferrero doesn't just rely on suppliers, they build long-term relationships with farmers and producers to make sure the quality stays the same. Every part of the process, from growing to shipping, is carefully tracked. Hazelnuts make up about 13% of Nutella. Most come from Turkey, and Ferrero buys around 25% of the global supply. Hazelnuts are harvested once a year from August to September. Timing is important because if they're not dried quickly, mold can form. Farmers use machines and nets to collect them, especially in hard-to-reach areas. To manage risk and control supply, Ferrero also owns hazelnut farms in Chile, Australia, and the US, which helps with traceability and meeting environmental goals. Cocoa gives Nutella its rich chocolate flavor and mostly comes from West African countries like Ivory Coast and Ghana. The cocoa beans are harvested from pods, fermented under banana leaves, and then sun-dried to reduce moisture. After drying, they're bagged and shipped to Ferrero's factories, where they're roasted and ground into cocoa mass. Since cocoa flavor can vary by region, Ferrero blends beans from different areas to keep the taste the same in every jar. Ferrero also works with local groups and programs to improve farming practices, reduce child labor, and support sustainability in cocoa growing areas. The other key ingredients come from different sources. Sugar can be made from either sugar beets or sugarcane, depending on the region. In Europe, sugar beets are used because they grow well in cooler climates, while cane sugar comes from tropical countries like Brazil and India. Palm oil, which gives Nutella its smooth texture and long shelf life, mainly comes from Malaysia and Indonesia, but only from farms certified by the Round Table on Sustainable Palm Oil, RSPO. Milk is used in powdered form, which helps keep it fresh and makes it easier to transport. It's made by drying fresh milk to remove the water while keeping the nutrients. Finally, vanillin, used in small amounts for aroma, is usually synthetic to ensure a steady supply without affecting natural vanilla crops. All ingredients are carefully checked before entering the factory to ensure a smooth production process. Before any ingredient is added to the mixing tanks, it has to pass many quality checks. Each Nutella factory has labs, sensors, and automated systems that check things like texture, taste, temperature, moisture, and safety. These systems run all day and night to make sure every jar meets the same high standards, no matter where it's made. On average, thousands of tests are done each day across the factories. If anything isn't right, it's rejected and never used. These strict checks are why Nutella tastes and feels the same everywhere. Hazelnuts go through very detailed inspections. Since they're a sensitive ingredient, they're tested for mold, size, oil content, and how well they roast. Workers take samples from each shipment and test for aflatoxins, harmful toxins that can form if nuts aren't stored properly. These toxins can't be seen, so Ferrero uses special tests to detect even small amounts. Hazelnuts that are too wet are dried in controlled spaces to prevent spoilage. Once they pass the tests, they're stored in cool, dry silos to keep them fresh and protect their flavor until they're ready for roasting and grinding. The other ingredients are also carefully tested. Milk powder is checked for bacteria, taste, color, and fat content. Samples are heated to look for clumps or bad smells. Cocoa powder is tested for flavor strength, pH level, and color to make sure there's no bitterness or acidity that could change the taste. Palm oil is further refined to remove smells and color, making it stay smooth and neutral in the spread. Even vanillin, which is used in small amounts, is tested for purity and how well it dissolves. Ferrero uses digital tracking to follow every ingredient from supplier to jar. This way, if there's an issue, they can find the exact shipment or batch and fix it quickly, either by adjusting production or removing the affected stock. It's a well-managed system that keeps millions of jars safe and reliable each year. Once the ingredients pass all the quality tests, production can start. The first step is roasting the hazelnuts, which is key to getting the nutty flavor. Large rotating ovens are used for this. The hazelnuts tumble gently inside while hot air circulates. The heat softens the nuts and brings out their natural sweetness and flavor. The roasting time and temperature are carefully controlled since they can change based on the size, moisture, and freshness of the nuts. It's important not to burn the nuts, so the ovens are adjusted to make sure the flavor develops without becoming bitter. After roasting, the hazelnuts are quickly cooled to keep the flavor and prevent over-roasting. Then they move on to grinding. In this step, the hazelnuts are crushed by large rollers or fast-spinning blades, breaking them into tiny pieces. The friction from grinding releases the natural oils in the nuts, turning them into a smooth paste. This hazelnut paste is key to Nutella's creamy texture. The fine grinding ensures the paste is perfectly smooth, with no chunks, making it easy to spread. While the hazelnuts are being ground, the cocoa beans are either processed in another part of the factory or brought in as pre-ground cocoa powder. If the factory processes its own cocoa, the beans are roasted in large machines that break them into nibs. These nibs are then ground into a paste called chocolate liquor. No alcohol, just pure cocoa. This chocolate liquor is mixed with other ingredients like milk powder and sugar, then combined with the hazelnut paste. The result is a smooth chocolate hazelnut blend that will become Nutella. This step is important because grinding the hazelnuts and cocoa gives Nutella its smooth texture and rich taste, making it stand out from other chocolate spreads. The mixing stage is where all the ingredients come together to create Nutella. At this point, the hazelnut paste, cocoa, milk powder, sugar, and palm oil are combined in large mixers. These mixers are designed to work at specific speeds and temperatures to make sure Nutella has the right smooth texture. Some mixers use paddles to gently stir, while others have vacuum pumps to remove air bubbles. The vacuum is important because it helps prevent air pockets, which could make the texture grainy. The goal is a smooth, even spread from the first spoonful to the last. The order in which the ingredients are added is important for the right consistency. First, dry ingredients like cocoa and sugar are mixed to make sure they dissolve well. This helps the cocoa release its rich chocolate flavor and the sugar spread evenly. After the dry ingredients are mixed in, the hazelnut paste and milk powder are added to create the creamy base of Nutella. Finally, palm oil is added last, and it's warmed slightly to blend smoothly. The mixture is blended for 20 to 30 minutes, with sensors controlling the temperature and thickness. This helps ensure every batch has the same smooth texture and taste. After mixing, the blend goes through a homogenizer. This machine uses high pressure to break down any lumps or uneven bits, making the spread perfectly smooth. Homogenization also helps keep the oils evenly mixed, so there's no oil separation. Once it's through, Nutella is thick, creamy, and smooth, ready to spread. It's still warm, which makes it easy to fill jars. Before packaging, each batch is tested again to ensure it's consistent and tastes just right. Only when it passes these checks is Nutella ready to be packed. Once the Nutella is ready, it's pumped into jars. The warm, creamy spread travels through stainless steel pipes to automated filling lines. These machines quickly and efficiently fill, seal, and label each jar, while workers monitor the process from control rooms. Since the Nutella is still warm, it flows easily into the jars without leaving air pockets or streaks, making sure each jar is filled evenly. Before Nutella is added, the jars, whether glass or plastic, are cleaned to make sure they're free from any dirt. Once clean, the jars are placed under filling nozzles that are set to dispense the right amount of Nutella, usually between 200 and 750 grams. Sensors along the production line check the fill levels and remove any jars that are overfilled or underfilled. After the Nutella is added, the jars are sealed with an aluminum foil lid to keep air and moisture out, and plastic screw-on caps are tightly added to seal the jar without damaging it. Once sealed, each jar is labeled with important details, like batch codes, expiration dates, and product info for safety and tracking. After labeling, the jars are packed into cardboard boxes and stacked onto pallets, which are shrink-wrapped for stability during shipping. Ferrero factories can produce over 1 million jars of Nutella a day at full capacity. To keep things running smoothly, machines are cleaned regularly, and production lines are checked to avoid delays. Every step of the process is designed for speed and accuracy, making sure Nutella reaches shelves fresh. Once the jars are packed, they're sent to distribution centers, either locally or overseas. Ferrero has factories in places like Italy, Germany, France, Canada, Brazil, and Australia, so Nutella is often made close to where it's sold. This helps reduce shipping time and keeps the product fresher. Nutella is transported by truck, ship, or train, depending on how far it needs to go. Some factories are near ports or rail lines to make shipping easier. At distribution centers, the pallets are stored for a short time before being sent to stores, wholesalers, or online retailers. Big retailers place regular orders, and Ferrero uses software to make sure each location gets the right amount without overstocking. Since Nutella doesn't need refrigeration, it's easy to store and transport. Each jar lasts about 12 months, and the mix of sugar, palm oil, and low water content keeps it from spoiling. The whole process from mixing to store shelves can take just a couple of weeks. When Nutella arrives at the store, it's placed on shelves for customers to buy. Ferrero works closely with retailers and uses sales data to predict demand, making sure there's always enough stock. Careful planning and tracking throughout the distribution process help keep Nutella fresh, available, and tasty wherever it's sold. Nutella is loved for its creamy, sweet taste of hazelnuts and cocoa, which is easy to enjoy and always recognizable. While the idea is simple, it has been perfected over time. Unlike other spreads, Nutella has kept the same recipe for years, giving people a consistent experience with every jar. Whether on toast, in pancakes, desserts, or eaten with a spoon, Nutella has become part of daily life for many. It's a comfort food that brings a sense of familiarity to busy routines. And its connection to personal memories is why Nutella remains a favorite across generations. What keeps Nutella going is the large system behind the scenes that ensures quality, freshness, and availability. Ferrero has created a well-organized network of farms, suppliers, and factories that all follow strict standards, no matter where they are. Every batch of hazelnuts is tested for moisture, oil content, and flavor. Cocoa and milk powders are checked for purity, and each ingredient is tracked from source to shelf. The factories use advanced equipment to mix and fill jars, keeping things consistent from batch to batch. Even though Nutella is made in over a dozen countries, the product tastes the same everywhere, which builds trust and ensures people know exactly what they're getting. Over time, Nutella has stayed popular without making big changes. Instead of following trends, the brand has made small, smart improvements like offering new jar sizes, recipe ideas, and seasonal packaging. Its ads focus on family, joy, and simple moments, not flashy slogans. Nutella isn't marketed as a fancy or trendy product. It's seen as a simple treat that everyone can enjoy. This steady approach has helped it last. By sticking to its roots while keeping production smooth and supply steady, Nutella remains a staple in kitchens worldwide and looks set to stay. So what do you think? Are you a fan of Nutella? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, out some of these other Process Powerhouse videos.